It's nice to talk to you again. First, I want to start off with apologizing for this being a little bit late. Um, my partner, Gino Estevez, was actually out of town this weekend for a hockey tournament, so it was very hard to get a hold of him, and he didn't really answer, but he felt really bad. But I still got the chance to meet up with him, and I finished the project completely for this section, and yeah, it was a pretty good experience, but let me tell you more about it. So, Gino and I met up at Starbucks for a second interaction. While we were together, we discussed our educational experiences and how involved our families are as well. I came to find out that Gino and I have many similarities in this aspect. Gino's little brother, and as well as Gino, attended public schools just like I did. They received a quality education that was close to home, and Gino expressed that there are not many Catholic schools in Canada, which I found very interesting because the main culture, or no, the main religion in Canada is Catholic. So I just assumed that there would be more Catholic schools and that possibly even Gino would go to one because he's so religious. Um, in addition to going to public schools, we found that we are very similar in the aspect that our parents are crazily and heavily involved with our educational lives, and they support us like crazy, and they want us to really succeed, and they're always like nagging us about our grades. And I don't know, I just thought it was my crazy mom who always wanted me to do well, but it's nice to hear that there's other people out there. Um, in addition, Gino explained that his everyday in high school life was waking up, eating some cereal, looking over his homework from the night before, and then he'd get on a school bus. He did this all 4 years, which I found crazy. And he told me that his high school didn't allow them to drive cars to school. And this is different from America because in high school they actually encourage kids to get cars because it cuts down on the funds toward busing and they can just save a little bit of money in that aspect. Um, This makes me kind of think that Canada has a little bit more money than the US for their education, which is awesome, good for them. Um, One of the things that Gino told me that he could not do but I could do is I took 4 online classes here and I absolutely loved it and it was great. And during that time, like I got to leave school, like do everything at home. And he said in Canada they didn't allow it because they believe that students don't have like the motivation to complete it all in a timely manner and still receive like a decent grade. So they just don't let kids do that, and I found that very interesting. Gino and I also talked about like our social lives in high school, and we wanted to see like how they were different because like with the few things that we already found, we were just kind of wondering like how like clubs would differ, like sports and stuff like that. So from a social aspect, Gino told me that we actually offered very similar things, extracurricular activities. In high school, I personally was on the yearbook staff for all 4 years, but I was editor in chief for 2.5. I was a member of the art club. I was on student council. I was a National Honor Society member. I played varsity tennis, varsity volleyball, and varsity track. And Gino was in the French club. He was on student council for a year. He was in the mathletes, and he played hockey for his high school for a year. He told me that socially our schools are similar because like my high school, his got very excited for like sporting events and like that's how him and all of his friends hung out. And we were just kind of laughing because it's like what kind of like social group that you go into kind of defines like what friends you're gonna get. And I just thought that was funny because I didn't know that it was like that in other places. Um, One other thing that we found that was similar from our hometown and like our high schools was that we both attended very diverse high schools culturally. And I found this interesting that we both shared this, and I liked that he said, and like he believes that all cultures were accepted there and never cause an uproar or anything like that. I took this as like Gio and I are both cultured a bit more than as opposed to like people who are sheltered into like the one race school, like the one culture schools. Um, and we also talked about stereotyping, and one thing that we found for like people of Gino's culture of Italian is they believe that he's very hot-headed and like quick to judgment. But meeting Gino, like I don't believe that. Like I think he's a very calm and like sweet guy. And for me, like I'm Scandinavian, and when people think that, they think like, oh, the crazy Vikings, like they just like to party and they're just loud. But I think like I'm very like reserved and like very chill. And Gino even said like I'm nothing like that stereotype. So I think we really bonded over that. and we like that, like, we're the type of people that don't really get upset about stereotypes because we both know multiple people who do, and I think that's also, like, a maturity thing, so I don't know, but, I believe that Gino and I are both very intrinsically motivated because we both have very, like, specific goals for ourselves, and, like, throughout our educational experiences, like, we've progressively, like, become more intelligent and, like, more mature, and, not even just educationally, like, for myself, like, I have goals on, like, what I wanna be when I'm older and, like, who how I want my family to be raised and just, like, how I want my body to look, like, just goals like that, and I know Gino has, like, so many goals for himself with hockey too because he wants to play professionally and, like, he's already playing at a collegiate level, and I know he has multiple goals set out for himself, so hopefully we can both meet our goals, but overall, like, I'm just really, like, sad and, like, happy at the same time, like, sad because, like, I won't be able to, like, talk to Gino as much, like, maybe we'll still stay friends, we don't know, but, I've really enjoyed talking to him all the time, and I've really enjoyed this experience, so again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'll see you in class. Bye.